Hello, I'm Dr. Struby. I'm a chiropractic physician in Pinellas Park, Florida. Wanted to go over concussions briefly today. The word concussion is based on the Latin to shake violently, and that pretty much sums it up. Traditionally, people have thought you have to be hit in the head to have a concussion. Most often, it is not from a direct blow to the head, but from the head being violently shaken. There are a number of different mechanisms which can cause a concussion. Basically, any traumatic event potentially could cause a concussion. Most commonly, it's things like sports injuries, falls, and most common, automobile accidents. The brain is kind of like a big chunk of jello that sits up inside the skull. And if you are in a car that is impacted from the rear, at that moment of impact, your head is thrown violently backwards and the brain smashes against the back of the skull. An instant later, you're thrown violently forwards, the brain smashes up against the front of the skull. This is referred to as a coup contra coup injury, and essentially it's a double insult to the brain. When a concussion takes place, it is generally not one specific area of the brain, but many, many small foci throughout the brain. And the brain can heal. It will attempt to heal itself. It's a slow process, but it does happen. And there are different types of treatments that can be done to speed up the healing process. Initially, right after an injury, nutritional things can be quite helpful. You need to be getting enough protein. It's generally considered 1 gram per kilogram of weight. Things like vitamin D, DHA, creatine, anti-inflammatories, all those can be helpful, especially in the early stages of a concussion. And with concussion, the symptoms vary considerably, and it depends on the severity in the individual. But generally, you are going to notice things like being off your game. Things just aren't right. You have difficulty concentrating and focusing and remembering things. That's very common. Oftentimes there's an emotional component where you're quicker to anger or you're sad and you don't know why. These things are related to concussions. Headaches are a big item too that go along with that. Unfortunately, women are about twice as likely than men to sustain a concussion given the right set of circumstances. And it's primarily due to musculature in the neck and the differences between men and women in that respect. Also, women are about twice as likely to have long-term effects relating to concussions. Along with the nutritional support that can be helpful with concussions, there are therapies that can be done. And the therapies are usually things that stress the brain. And by that I mean make the brain work. The brain is, in some respects, like a muscle. You know, if you weight lift, the muscle gets stronger. You do brain exercises, the brain gets stronger. So there are things that can be done. And if you have been involved in an accident and you feel you may have a concussion, you should get yourself evaluated, if needs be, treated, and you'll be glad you did. So with that said, I want you to drive carefully. I want you to drive courteously. I want you to have a good day. Thanks for your time. Bye now.